hope everyone is familiar with what programming is. So let's jump straight into C programming. I will explain some terminology when it comes to programming. Okay. Programming is writing a set of commands to execute a program. So basically you write a sequence of steps of code to execute a desired task. So you run it on the computer, it runs, and you get a specific output. So that's what, in layman terms, what programming is. So there are multiple languages. There are multiple programming languages, namely, let's say, Basic, COBOL, Pascal, Fortran. When it comes to somewhat high-level languages, C, C++, Java, and here assembly, and basic machine language. So 0 and 1. So alphabets in this languages are 0 and 1. So this language is the statements in this language are composed of 0 and 1. Basic, somewhat higher level language compared to this, but it doesn't do much of the task. Similarly, this one. So these are more higher level languages. We have more control over hardware through these languages. These languages, we have more control over hardware. Like suppose it's a bare machine. It's a machine, computer. So hardware. So we have computer hardware. This is operating system. And we have language over operating system, languages. Suppose this is C language. This is machine language that directly works on CPU. It directly works on CPU. So what happens is C is a higher level language. Higher level language, that means there is one more layer of abstraction. So this C gets converted to machine language through a step called compilation. So similarly, suppose let's take a language such as Python. Most of the Python is written in C or C++. So what happens is Python is at a higher level of abstraction, and we can't directly control the memory aspects of the hardware. So it's very much higher language, very high level language. And there are frameworks, libraries, modules. So these are the terminologies which you will generally encounter in the programming world. So okay, first, who has written it? Who has created the C language? So Ritchie has created C at Bell Labs. Knowing all these things wouldn't help much, but it's always good to know. So coming to the good parts, when dealing with programming language, we have basic things called data types. So C has the following data types: int, float, character. These are the basic data types, and there are data structures as well. So you might be thinking, what about strings? Strings as in sequence of characters. Like Ramu, Shyam, Mohan, etc. So how does these get represented in C language? Of course, we have to deal with this type of data. How would you deal in C? So strings, before coming into strings, we have to define what array is. So let's define what an array is. Array is a container. So when we talk about array, this is one data structure. So data structures are containers in which we store the data. So there are multiple types of containers. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. So when it comes to arrays, okay, arrays are a sequence of containers which can store a sequence of data of same data type. Such as, suppose, int. When it comes to the sizes of these data types, generally it is machine dependent, but generally it stores 4 bytes. This also stores 4 bytes, I guess. 4 bytes or 8 bytes. This one stores 1 byte. Or 8 bytes. And there is another data type. Double is a short for double precision floating point number. So it's 8 bytes or 16 bytes. This is a container. Each square is a data type. Can store a data type. That means, suppose if it's an integer array, then each cell stores an integer, suppose 1. So this contains 4 bytes. So suppose this is address 0, then it consumes 4 bytes, and this one starts with address 4. So hash, I am denoting address with hash denote. So hash 8, hash 16, and so on. So one thing to note here is these cells are always contiguous. So here I need to mention it is contiguous memory. And I also need to tell you that when declaring what is declaration and definition also. Okay, I'll tell you. slowly. Okay, as you understood what an array is, we'll talk about strings. Strings here, strings is also, you can consider it it is also a data type, but it is an array basically. Character array basically contains here, instead of integers, it stores character elements. And point to note is all elements of an array same type. Okay. That being said, let's talk about declaration and definition. Okay, declaration. Enough of theory, let's write some code actually. In C, before using a data type, you need to declare the data type. Suppose character C. This is called declaration. Okay, this is comment by the way. This is multi-line comment in which you write forward slash star, and you write the text, comment text, and you close the comment with star forward text. You can write comment like this as well, 2 forward slashes followed by comment. You can write this comment text here. Okay, this will span till the end of the line. This will span until star forward slash is encountered from this point onward. Okay, this is the declaration. By the way, this is also definition as well. Okay, what happens during declaration is one question, and another question is what happens during definition. I'll answer these 2 questions here. So, and how do you separate here I am saying this is declaration and this is definition, both, right? How would you separate declaration and definition? This is one other question. How do you separate both? Both is one more question. Okay, first I will answer this, and I will answer these 2 questions. So answering this question, you can use extern keyword. Okay, now it's very interesting. What is this keywords that I'm talking about? Okay, these are special words in a language. Having special meaning. Okay, so extend keyword. Where do you use before declare statement. Okay, let's see an example. Extern character C, extern int A, extern, that's it. These are okay. These are ways you can use extend keyboard. So here it means only declaration, right? So so we don't have any problem there. So our next question is okay, this is also a keyword, this is also a keyword, int is also keyword, char is also keyword, int is also keyword. Okay, one more thing to note here is the node point. We can't use variables names, variables names, keyword names as variables. Keyword names as variable names. Okay, we can't use that, otherwise it throws compilation, otherwise it won't compile. Most likely, otherwise it will result in a compilation error or runtime error. How the lexical analyzer will analyze. No, it won't even compile. Okay, let's move on to what happens during declaration. Okay, declaration, nothing special. Program is aware of that variable and its type. That's all. What happens during definition? Memory gets allocated okay. Oh, memory gets allocated. Interesting. We keep on expanding our knowledge of C programming here. So what is this memory that I was talking about? Let's see. Memory in C programming. There are quite different memories in C programming that we can discuss. One is code section or BSS section. Another is heap memory. Or dynamically allocated memory. There's a third one, that is stack memory, stack frame memory, whatever, frame memory. or local memory or something, local memory or something, or static memory. So these are the three memory sections we have. So we have string literals. Suppose we have a string literal. Suppose character, pointer. We'll talk about pointers. This is Ramu. So where do you think that this particular string is stored? This string is stored in the code section itself, and the pointers, which we'll talk soon enough. Pointers. What is pointers? These are variables which store addresses of the data type. How is this stored? Array M U, and let me tell you, the string that is stored as in the form of an array has an unknown null character. It's called escape sequence here. This is null character in strings, escape characters. There are a bunch of other escape characters as well. New line. Carriage return, etc. So the address, let's say 208 is the address of this. This is 1 byte. This is 209, etc. This 208 is stored in this variable. So P has value 208. But we can dereference a pointer. What does dereferencing a pointer mean? Get the value stored and the location of pointer. So at 208, letter or character or is stored. So that's how it works. So while dealing with the code section, we have gone into multiple topics. And when it comes to heap memory or dynamically allocated memory, you can see when we talk about the heap memory, how it's generally allocated. So dynamically allocation means, let's talk about that. So let's talk about dynamic allocation. What does it mean, dynamically allocated? after you write a C program, it gets compiled. So you write a series of statements. Valid C statements. Then you give the program to compiler. So compiler first it checks whether it runs or not. It runs or not runs. It checks whether your syntax is right. X6 for syntax or logic statements. What I mean to say here is, if it is an integer variable and you are not assigning it a string, wrong. These kind of errors are detected during compilation. If it passes all errors like this, then it is successfully compiled, and then program executable is returned, and this is .exe file or .a.out file. A.out file is created. This is run. We get output to screen. So this is the case. So here dynamic allocation as in it gets as per the requirement. As per the requirement as in when you run the program, as per the requirement, depending on the user input. So here suppose user can give input for program. So depending on the input, the size of data structures might vary. So so we need to create a bigger or smaller depending on the input size. We need to create a data structure that's that size. So we need to allocate that kind of memory. So that is only possible in dynamically allocated memory is stored in heap. So for that purposes we use heap to store that memory. What is static allocation? Static allocation, we can store the memory in the stack frame itself. So that is the case. So we have a library called stdlib, which provides group of functions to create and deal with dynamic memory. Examples: malloc, kerloc, etc. Stack. Coming to the stack memory, what can I say about stack memory? Suppose int a equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose there is a syntax for we'll go into syntax deeper after some time. There is a syntax for creating an array of suppose 5 elements. So you don't here you have to define size if you are not initializing Otherwise, it's okay not to define size because this installation itself defines size. So here these are allocated in stack. We'll continue the rest in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe. Please encouraging me. If you have any valuable suggestions, you can write in the comments. Thank you.